Many thanks for staying tuned. It's still the conversation here on Lagos Television. On the program this morning, we'll be taking a look at the life and times of ex-President Muhammadu Buhari, who died yesterday in a clinic in London. Of course, his body should be in Nigeria any moment from now. If not here, he's set for to be buried later on in Daura in Katsina State later on in the afternoon. But a lot of Nigerians, like I said, would remember him as a military president and the A games he brought to bear at that particular point in time. And like we did say, mixed reactions, of course, on the X platform since the report of his death filtered in yesterday, where a lot of people have not had very good things to say about this man. But very quickly, we have two gentlemen who will be weighing on this discussion with Jibal and I on the program today. Right here in the studio, we have a colleague, is a broadcaster as well as a communication strategist, Charles Idoho. Charles, thank you for being here this morning.
Thank you for dragging me here.
And of course, joining us via Zoom all the way from London this morning. He spent the better part of Saturday with us, and of course is back here with us again this morning. Dr. Akinola. He's a political marketing scholar at the Olabisi Onabanjo University. Thank you, Dr. Akinola, for joining us on the program this morning.
Thank you. Good morning to you.
Right, let's start with you, Charles. You are right here in the studio before we go to Dr. Akinola. Of course, when the news filtered in yesterday that former President Muhammadu Buhari had passed on, what was the first thing that crossed your mind about this man?
Well, incidentally, I was on the radio presenting a program when the news came, but I delayed breaking the news just to be sure, because sometimes things can filter. I don't want to be the person to be caught in the web of misinformation and all that. So, but when I left the studio, I had to allow a junior staff to do that after we had confirmed that indeed he was dead. So I had to allow the junior staff to do that. I remember him very vividly because I was in secondary school when he first stanza of leadership in this country. I was in secondary school when he took over the reins of government. He and he partnered with Idoho, the blessed memory and all that. And then after that, I following him, became a journalist following him, the PTF chairman, and a whole lot of things that he did. Because my father was also a military man, major in the army, who also is list. So I know so much about the military. So he had a very glowing career as a military man. Even as elder statesman, he also did well. But again, on the other, in the second stanza of leadership, when he came in 2015 actually, yeah, and whatever he did between then and when he left the administration that he midwifed in 2023, a lot of things that he did, his activity actually seemed to eclipse whatever good thing he did in the first stanza exactly. So again, we are told in Africa we don't speak ill of the dead, but again, this is not. We are doing the.
This was one thing a lot of people said yesterday. That yes. I think this is the time to actually leave that.
Yeah, we are living there, but again, but you see, the thing is that there's no way you write the history of this country. You won't mention the name Muhammadu Buhari and what he did. Particularly when he came back, he wanted to be president. He tried the first time, he tried the second time, and then also Color Television was in one of them, as you heard, you know. So and Nigerians decided to say, okay, this man, because of what he did. I mean, even as a broadcaster, as a journalist, we're not allowed to openly, support anybody. But I broke the law. I had to throw everything there to support him because of what he did when I was secondary school. And so we felt that he was going to have a reenactment of that glowing years that he had there, his seconds coming. But when he came, some of us, I personally was disappointed. And again, we thought that maybe old age, I don't know, it's just you have a father that was very strict on his children. Maybe when the father now become very old, he now be looking at them, couldn't do anything. So I just felt that maybe old age actually didn't do him well. And then, but what later happened in the latter time of his life, which what the Americans would call a downer, is in his glowing career. But may his soul rest in peace. I'm sure in the course of the broadcast we'll say more on that. Yes.
Okay, Mr. Akinola, fortunately you are in London. What's the mood like over there? Nigerians, what are they saying about the demise of our former president, Muhammadu Buhari?
Dr. Akinola, a point of correction, my brother.
Dr. Akinola, pardon me, please.
No problem, no problem, no mischief. Well, for me, you know something. Something is very, very clear in my mind that God is going to be the judge of every one of us. No matter what anyone says about anybody, God is not going to ask me to give testimony about Jibola. God knows everything you have done, and He will judge you accordingly. Buhari has come and gone, right? Is left to Allah to judge him. But the little we know about him, for people like us, I've never met him in person, but by sheer providence of reading, I've read a bit about him. I mean, he was one of those young northerners that were encouraged to go into military by the British because they saw that the South was advanced already in education, and the only way that the North can, check the South was for them to populate the military. So some of them were chosen and encouraged to go into the military, and it was one of them. And he trained both in Britain and in India and rose through the ranks. He was involved in the 1975-76 coup that ousted General Gowon, and thereafter, in 1983, when another young set of military officers organized a coup against, Shagari, right? He was not directly involved, but he was a respected senior officer. And from the records that we have, he was invited to come and lead. And after leading for a while, his austere and very tough discipline approach, they probably did not go down well. So he was also, through another internal coup, removed from office. And again, for someone like that who had the desire to come and correct some of those things I felt he could have done at that time, and then made 2 or 3 efforts which he failed until 2015, when some people galvanized the political machinery to support him, and then gave him an 8-year to rule this country. It would be unfair to say that the Buhari 8-year regime did not contribute anything to the development of Nigeria. No government is ever perfect. He had his shortcomings, but at the same time, he contributed to the development of Nigeria. As much as possible, people will tell you, just like the talking drum. The talking drum has 2 sides. If it faces you, it backs someone. Right. But again, like I said, the simple logic is that we once had a President, Muhammadu Buhari, who was a former head of state and also a president. The most unfortunate thing is that recently somebody even made a statement about a week or so ago that some people who are saying, oh, we made him the president, got it wrong, and all those kind of things. But the simple logic is that for me, there are a few things I've learned from him. Okay. Right? He's a man who doesn't talk much. He doesn't talk much. He allows you to have your field day, talk whatever you want to, say whatever you want to say. He keeps doing the little thing he wants to do. He may not be as active or as flippant as we will expect him to be, but again, he has had his own shot, and then at a ripe age of 82, right. He bowed to the cold hand of death. Right. But unfortunately, Jibola, I ask you, now that the real Buhari is dead, so where is the Jubilee of Sudan? Of Sudan. True. Seriously mischievous. Right. And I think what we need to do as members of the media is also investigate the people behind that malicious information and then call them out.
Right.
They are haters. I mean, I've seen people say, "Oh, he didn't find any hospital in Nigeria. Why
And
will
then he died in London.
Why will he? Attempt to risk his life to be treated? The last time he went to London to be treated, right? They even commissioned somebody who took his picture on the bed, and then they sold that picture to somebody who now said, "Oh, this man is dead." That's how dangerous it is if you're a public officer to be treated in a public institution in Nigeria.
All right. Charles, coming back to you, let's speak it from at least, because you also did say that for some reason, because of his antecedent, you also campaigned for him at that time to be president. A lot, was said about former President Muhammadu Buhari, especially during his stint at the PTF, and the fact that he was one man that was very upright and one man that saw corruption as, we need to deal with this situation. But when he came back and he became the president, he also saw that this thing was too much for him. And that was when he said, you know what, as much as we're fighting corruption, corruption is actually fighting back. So as an individual who meant well for the country. Federal Republic of Nigeria, was the situation also too overwhelming at that time that he just felt, going back to what Dr. Akinola said, he was a man that didn't speak much. And at that time, a lot of people said, our president is not even talking to us. If you like, continue. He will not say anything. So for him, because again, we all didn't see what he saw. Because he was the only one who saw what he saw.
That's right.
Right. So was it quite overwhelming for him at the time he became the president of Nigeria? Well,
if you look at it, let's look at it. It's so many things in the box that we have to unpack. First, I think maybe he himself, he must have overestimated his power. That the power that he wielded when he was military head of state, because at that time it's a different dispensation entirely. Because a military leader, you ruled by fiat. You had no National Assembly to question your actions or inactions. You had no court of the law to question your actions or inactions. So a lot of things happen. So maybe he thought. This is my own conjecture. Maybe he thought that. The power that he wielded while he was the president, he may bring that to bear, becoming president one more time. But he appeared to have forgotten that you have three tiers of government. You have the
executive.
Not three tiers, so three arms of government. You have the executive, you have the legislature, and then the judiciary. So all this one, they work in tandem, even though they check each other in order to work. So as a president, you couldn't just utter a word and you expect everybody to fight behind you. But you see, I think where he missed it, when he won the election and he was inaugurated in 2015, May specifically, there was this palpable fear in the polity. People were afraid to do certain things because of what I remember. If you call the body language of the president. So people were really afraid that if they did something wrong, Buhari will grab them. Remembering what he did in his first stanza. Remember I told you. So but he forfeited that fear. He forfeited it. So when he now, first of all, for 6 months he couldn't set up his cabinet. So a lot of people when they look at it first month, they did something, they checked, Buhari didn't do anything, second month didn't, and then the whole thing just went over. So and then by the time he now settled down, the hawks are taking over. The horses are taking over and all that. They've planted themselves in all these strategic locations and all that and positions. So by the time he sat down, even the people he put in power, in position to help him do something, they were all of them also corrupt. So who was he going to turn to? If he turned to left, they
were there.
Turned to right and then he just said the corruption was fighting back. So if he had made use of his body language within the first 6 months when he won that, before he set on the campaign, to just grab hold of people, just one person and jail. Even the courts were also afraid. The courts we also wanted to do certain things, but he was just he laid back and all that. Complacency just set in. So people just said, well, it's business as usual. Just one man cannot do. So I think that was exactly what eclipsed some of the things that I spoke earlier about. So as I said, recently he told his wife a few days before he died, and we learned. I read in in the news that he actually told his wife to help him beg. Okay, jokingly said, "Wife, if you outlive me, please help me beg Nigerians that whatever things I may have done that may not have gone that way with them, they should forgive me." Actually, he was also human, so we all forgive him. I mean, that's it's what they call a penitent heart in the Bible. So we forget that penitence and then
forgive him.
And forgive him as well. That's
okay, Dr. Akinola, let's talk about his level of discipline, his simplicity, and what he contributed to the growth of the nation when he was the PTF chairman, and of course he also fought the civil war for the country. So let's talk about his simplicity and his level of discipline so far. Compare it to what happened when he was military and later on when he was a civilian, just like Charles mentioned.
There must be a basis for comparison. And permit me to use what we are conversant with. We had a minister of petroleum for just one tenure, and we know the amount of money she was reported to have stolen and the kind of lifestyle she lived, even to the extent that she had to run away from Nigeria from the hand of the law. We had a governor of a central bank who spent less than 10 years, and in recent times they said there were about 750 gigantic building that he owned, right? When money was money, when Naira was as equal to pounds and dollars, Buhari was the Minister of Petroleum, right? And if he were to be as corrupt as we expect, right? Buhari should own at least 1% of Abuja and probably 1% of the properties in Lagos. Again, let us ask whether that is it. I'm not saying, and I'm not in position to say that he was a saint, right? But if I measure it on the basis of what I've just said, I will say, okay, in the rating of corrupt people, he will probably belong to the lowest rung. Okay. Again, he was head of state, even if it's just for 2 years, right? He was head of state even if it's just for 2 years. And when he was head of state, he did not hijack government property for himself. We know of people who are just chairmen of local government or even governors. Within 1 or 2 years, we know what they have amassed, right? A simple life that he lived even in his village in Daura says a lot. As a general, not even a leader, as a general, your monthly stipend is not chicken change, right? So if he has not been in the social face of, that means he's a humble, very austere person. That's the personality of his. In terms of his military career, whatever, well, he has done his bit. He chose to be a military man. He has done his bit. But let us look at something. I agree with what my brother in the house is saying. When Buhari was picked as the head of state from the Babangida Vasta coup or thereabout, yeah, he had a clear intention to make Nigerians disciplined people, orderly people. All right? That's when they launched this war against indiscipline.
Right.
Right. Now, we are the people who started calling him names because we are naturally unruly, very indisciplined people. We drove some places in London yesterday. There are places where you have to ride 20 kilometers. You move forward, it's 30 kilometers. There are certain places where you go, and people are very conscious of this law and they obey it.
Right.
But in Nigeria, we don't obey. In Republic of Benin, the Okada man will obey the traffic light.
True.
the person riding the bicycle obeys the traffic light. In Nigeria, we are naturally lawless. And so when you look at all that, this is a person who wanted to do it. We frustrated him. We call him names, right? What did he do? The people who...
Okay, right. I think... Okay,
right?
go ahead.
The arm of the law caught up with... And they made it look as if... if they made it look as if, oh, he's an evil person. You know, this kind of things. We paint people in negative terms for doing what at the same time we ask that he should do. Now, let's come back to his position as the president. He probably felt, okay, let me try again. But the civilian system is different from the military. Even in the military, the people who are following him removed him, okay, and then undid all the good things he had wanted to do, because those were military who had civilian coloration. Now, have we forgotten the purported allegation of poisoning? That when Buhari got into power, even before he could sit down to know what is happening, right? There's this allegation that he was poisoned.
He was poisoned, right?
Let me tell you a few things that I know, right? Whether it is true or not, let people controvert it. In fact, in recent times, one of his spokesperson, Malam Garba, was interviewed on a TV, and he was asked about the issue of poisoning through the AC. He cleverly dodged it. Yes, he cleverly dodged it. And from my own experience, when you do such things, that means the Yorubas will say, that means, so you just, there are certain things you don't want to respond to, you just leave it. Can you imagine when you have to flush the entire system of a man, flush it out, and then inject fresh fluid into him? That was the situation he found himself. In 1985, he was overthrown. He was lucky not to have been killed. Now, in 2015, 2016, he was poisoned.
Allegedly so, actually.
And even the people who poisoned him wanted him dead. And because he did not die, they also peddled the fact that, oh, he's dead. Oh, the one that you see is a clone person. A clone. And now you want him again. Yeah, you need to be alive to fight.
Okay. Dr. Akinola.
You need to be alive to fight.
Right.
And
okay, please land on your point, and then please land on your point.
I think I landed.
Okay, I think you've landed.
Yeah. What I've said is that leadership is very, very difficult, honestly speaking.
Right.
It's very, very difficult. When you watch a game from the sideline is different from when you get on the field, though.
True, true. That's true. Right, Charles.
It's different from when you get on the field.
From what Dr. Akinola said, leadership, whichever side you take a look at it from, it is not always smooth.
No, it's not.
And so so let's talk about the last 2 years of ex-president, late ex-president now. Of course, was it all bad news? The 8 years. I mean, can't we even remember him for something positive
of course
that that administration witnessed? Was it all gloom?
As Dr. Akinola said earlier, before you can come up with, to profiling of someone, you must look at it. Let's look at it sectorially. In this sector, what did he do? Maybe over 10, and so on. I mean, we can see Ibadan Lagos Expressway.
It was completed finally.
Yes, we can credit that to him. What about the railway system? Can also credit that to him. So apart from, he has quite a number of things that we can actually positively credit to his name. Okay, but as I said, there were a lot that we wanted him to do. We don't do. For instance, permit me also mention his wife as well, Aisha Buhari, who. It was in the news at that time that they went to Akinola clinic. They couldn't even find even syringe, as even paracetamol and all that. and every year monetary budgeted for personally, this is personal to me. I felt that what Dr. Akinola said, that we couldn't trust the local Medicare, but I said no. But as a president, it was under your purview. I mean, you ought to have done something to change the whole narrative. I was told, maybe I wasn't born that time, that even in the early 60s or so, that even the Saudi prince they were coming to UCH to be treated. Okay, is it likely to see a British prime minister coming to be treated in a Nigerian hospital? We could do it. So for Buhari to have died in a London hospital, for me, it's bad image for us as a country. It's a bad. So, but as I said, it's a potpourri. He's done quite a lot. He also undid a couple of other things. Yes. Yes.
Okay, Dr. Akinola, what are the lessons therein for these present couple of leaders to take away from later Muhammadu Buhari? And you know, Charles raised an issue now. If somebody is a president or a governor and you do not believe in your own brand and you are elsewhere receiving treatment, what does that say about your quality of leadership and what you have budgeted for that particular sector? Did you get my question?
Okay, I would like to continue from where he is. Yeah, I got your question. I would like to continue from where he talked about some of his legacies, right? Under President Buhari, a lot of tertiary medical institutions were seriously upgraded. That can be checked. UCH was one that was seriously upgraded. I remember then, we can check that. Secondly, now the autonomy of the local government, Buhari actually started it. There was a time Buhari
executive order
issued
an executive order,
presidential order, executive order that allocations should go directly to the local government.
Sure.
The state governors took him to court. That's where we talk about military fiat and civilian rule. The military, the state governors took him to court and they won, right? Even this issue of subsidy removal, don't forget that the Buhari regime had announced that by time subsidy will not be there. They didn't put it. They didn't put it in the budget. So that was what Tinubu inherited. Yes, inherited. Now again, I still remember very, very well the state of our airports in Nigeria. Under Buhari regime, some of this refurbishment and upgrading started. Now, those are the few ones. Now, let's come to the issue of somebody dying abroad. When the Saudi king or whoever came for medical treatment in Nigeria, we wouldn't know what made him to come. And what gives you the impression that some other foreign leaders don't sneak into Nigeria for medical treatment? The only thing you don't hear the noise. Okay?
I doubt it.
I say
Dr. Akinola, I want to disagree with you.
I doubt it.
I want to disagree with you.
That the president will come, nobody is aware.
Because we go to general hospitals and we see the quality of service there.
Hold on. See, I can tell you the little that I know, right? Because he's even treated in UK, it cannot stop his death.
Sure.
Yeah, we know that.
True.
You also remember that the wife of a former president went to go and do a procedure and died there. While I was in South Africa, somebody took his parents to go and do eye surgery in South Africa. The thing turned and that person died, and it was a time of COVID. It became difficult for him to even repatriate the corpse to Nigeria. Meanwhile, there's an hospital as good in Idoho that does this surgery. We have all those. So for me, we have a mentality of everything has to do with outside. If we continue to carry that mentality, it is wrong for us, right? But nobody can tell me, for instance, right, that when you get to lawsuit, for crying out loud, tell me the test you want to do that you cannot do in lawsuit, and tell me the price you are going to do it outside. So people don't go to all these places, but we now come in the open and say there are nothing there. There are so. It's wrong.
Okay. Okay.
Can I take him one before he
again?
A question if possible.
All right.
Dr. Akinola, you know, he mentioned something about the upgrade of UC and AC and all that. So if he created to which, because I do know it's not, I'm not trying to fight against that, but he did that, and then he could also trust the upgrade that he made
to go to.
He could have used that. See, what I always look at is that leaders should be
they lead by example.
Not even by example. I say they should be the influencers of what we have in Nigeria. Except brand ambassadors. Look at India. Mahatma Gandhi, he kicked against, not that he kicked against, he worked against Indians wearing suit and all that, even he's answering English names.
Right.
Today you can hardly find an Indian that is John or something. But you see, you also look at the Tatars of the world, you look at the Indian brand. I understand that once you get a government or a position in India, this is what I understand, that you are required to drive an Indian-made car.
Right.
Look at in the 70s, the 80s, when some of us were growing up. I knew of Volkswagen of Nigeria, Peugeot. And then military people, even including Buhari, was riding Peugeot. Right. The headmasters, my uncles, they were riding Tortoise car. Because of those ones, he was able to come up with in companies that's what we call derived demand. There was the demand for car brought about the derived demand for tire. The real demand for tire brought about the issue of rubber plantation and all that. You had the Ferrodo, what they call the brake pad in Ibadan. You had the isoglass of the windscreen in Ibadan. You had Michelin, you had Dunlop. These were companies that were set up because of the direct demand for their product.
Right.
So imagine, look at when Obasanjo was in power. Okay, Obasanjo is too far away into the past. How about Jonathan? Jonathan was wearing what they call the Tibo, what they call the Jonathan today. He didn't ask anybody to dress like him. But today, I'm sure Jibola himself has those clothes. Because a leader had to influence, had to brand this. Obasanjo to ask, okay, what do you call a direct? He also did that. And people were also wearing that. Even he himself that died today, you saw sometimes wear this Hausa cap and all that. So if a leader decides to brand himself, all of us will fight behind it. But you upgraded the hospital, and then you chose to go abroad. I mean, it's not...
I'm sure what Dr. Akinola was that it was a personal choice. It was a personal choice.
Let me clarify this. Okay. Let me clarify this. I share your sentiments perfectly well. I believe in it. And anywhere I go in the world, when I make presentations, I don't wear English. I wear my native.
That's it.
I don't have an English name. I'm a rebel. I don't have an English name. Even in church, they ask for my baptismal name. They say, if you don't like Lanre, why did they remove it? Okay? Now, that's me. But I want to ask you something, my brother.
Yes.
Now, you have escaped a possible poisoning that would have led to your death in this country, right? Do you now subject yourself again to that possibility?
But leaders die for their countries.
I said something again.
How about that?
I'm coming, sir. I'm coming, sir. I'm coming, sir. I'm coming. Do you know that when you go to the clinic, I am not supposed to have access to your medical records?
I agree. Exactly. Sure. Yes.
I am not supposed to.
Yes.
Buhari was on sick bed in London. Somebody sneaked in and took a picture of him on that sick bed and sold it to politicians in Nigeria who were now using it to campaign against him. Now, are you now saying that if that person should be in lawsuits or UCH, what do you think will have happened?
Probably just take
security
details.
Where was security details too? I mean, how did the teacher get to guess?
Let's move this conversation forward. We have less than 5 minutes to go. If we stay on this London issue, we probably would also not leave this particular. Dr. Akinola, let's take this as your final question. Of course, the late Muhammadu Buhari is dead and gone, but others are living. What are some of the legacies or some of the life lessons that you think we all can learn learn from this man that he's no longer with us today?
Well, I keep saying it, when we listen to election campaigns, right, we should understand that some of those promises are something that is not visible in the shortest time, right? So we must be able to identify the campaign rhetorics from political promises, okay?
Okay.
Unfortunately.
Well, I think we ran out of time there before Dr. Akinola could land on his final. But then, Charles, please take it up from there.
Okay,
for individuals and leaders alike,
Yes.
what are some of the life lessons you think we can learn?
Well, he does have a lot of things that we can learn from. Number one is that is integrity. We can't. That's a given. He's in great integrity. He's also someone that he lived austere life. I understand that even some budget allocation that we made for Arso Rock, he rejected most of them. We preferred what they call pap and beans and all that. So I think leaders can begin to teach us how to live rather than being so extravagant and ostentatious. You can begin to look at the austere measures that people, when they live, they know that president is not living so large. I think the followers, all of us can say, okay, if the president is living this kind of austere life, we also have a cause to follow up. But I think that's one thing that they have to learn from him. Then another thing is that they have to also learn issue of he's loved by most people around his area.
Him,
so I think there's something he must have done that people also love. So let's also, even if not entirely Nigeria, but do something that people can stand up for, to want to hold the ladder up for you.
Okay.
That's also what I think this current the crop of followers or leaders should also borrow from him. Yes.
Okay, a very quick one before we let you go this morning. We saw the leaders of this coalition, ADC, they went to see him in Dara and stuff like that. For 2027, Buhari would have been a rallying figure, but now it's gone.
Yes.
Is that going to change anything in terms of permutation for the
election? It's not going to change, because even when you call Buhari rally, after he left government, I mean, his home wasn't a mecca of salt. People, you went there, you were told that, well, just go there and do whatever you want. I mean, that's not the kind of leader people will go to want to take something from. I understand that if you went to him, he will tell you that just do what is necessary and all that. He wasn't ready to say I was going to support anybody. So I think that was exactly what really reduced the number of people going over to him. So it's not going to change anything at all. Because if he were there and then you saw him actually making some very serious political statements and where people can lean on, where we could say, well, now he's gone, those things are going to be gone. But I don't think there's going to be any difference at all.
All right, thank you so much, Charles, we dragged you here and you came. Thank you for being dragged here. Thank you for all the time. Of course, Charles is a broadcaster and a communication strategist. But thank you for watching this side of the table this morning. We took a quick break. When the conversation returns, Adebimpe and Joy will be here with their Lagos conversation.
In today's fast-paced world, staying ahead demands peak performance from our bodies.
Therefore, our bodies need an optimum supply of essential nutrients, and Supermalt supports our daily nutritional needs.
Supermalt has 20 essential vitamins, minerals, and natural extracts for overall health and wellness. One Supermalt a day gives you energy and vitality, improves your mental performance, and supports your immunity.
The Nigeria Broadcasting Awards (TMBA) is back for its second edition. Are you the voice behind the mic, the face on the screen, or the producer of that story that